Welcome everybody to our Inside AWAI session for this month, and it's all about business to business, or B2B. And if you've never heard of that phrase, you'll be an expert by the end of this hour on what that's all about. I'm going to introduce Steve more formally in a moment, but Steve Slaunwhite's with us today. He's
Hi,
our
everyone.
Superstar expert here for us today, and we've got a team of people moderating in the background to look at your questions and answer some of them, and then at the end of our session they'll bring up some of the questions live so we can answer them for you. So we have Jessica, Jade, and Helen in the background, and Fran as well, and we're all here for you today. So I am going to now share my slides so that we can walk through the prepared material and get going and answer your questions. So here we go, 1 minute, bear with me. And then I gotta make it full screen slideshow. Whoops, there we go. Sorry about that, ta-da, okay. And I'm gonna turn off my video so I'm not distracting you. Actually, I can stay on video. I guess I don't mind doing that. Then it's more of a conversation with you, Steve, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, so the topic of the day is Inside the Ever-Growing Demand for B2B Copywriters with our special guest, Steve Slaunwhite. And here's everything you need to know about Steve. He's amazing, first of all, and he's quite accomplished in the world of business to business. He has 20 plus years of copywriting for companies. He's the author of The Everything Guide to Writing Copy, which is published by Simon & Schuster, and many other books. He's featured in DM News, Inside Direct Mail, The Wall Street Journal, Marketing Magazine, and many, many others. He's won awards, numerous awards, the ACE Award for Direct Mail Copywriting and AWAI's Copywriter of the Year. So excited to honor him with that because he's just been a tremendous AWAI master instructor for us for years now and he's the lead instructor on many of the B2B programs and events that we offer you. So he's the perfect person to give you a sense of what it is all about and where the opportunities are for you. What we're going to cover today with Steve is what exactly is B2B, if you're not familiar. We'll talk about lead gen, which is lead generation. It's a big part of B2B, and it might be something you've never heard about, but you'll totally understand it by the time we're through. Then we'll talk about how copywriting in B2B is crucial for results and how you can be a superhero to so many companies. Then we talk about the fabulous B2B copywriting fees you could earn, and then how to find and approach B2B clients. And then we'll wrap it up with a live Q&A session to make sure you get your questions answered. So with that, Steve, I'm going to have you kind of say next slide when you want me to go forward, but
Okay.
I'll have you go ahead and deliver the main content here.
Great. So what is, just go back to the last slide, Pam, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, just what is B2B, business to business exactly? I think a lot of us realize it means business to business, businesses selling products and services to other businesses. But there's actually more to it than that. There's actually more opportunities there than meets the eye. So if you can move on to the next slide.
Absolutely.
Obviously it includes businesses that sell products and services to other businesses, companies that make things, manufacturers, wholesalers and resellers, e-commerce sites, websites that sell business products to businesses like office equipment, office supplies, industrial components, pipes, valves, and fittings, and things like that. And shipping, logistics, transportation, that's a huge sector in B2B. So there's these products, but also there's also services. If you can move on to the next slide.
Yeah, before you do that, though, I just want to point out this photo here is obviously a tire warehouse. And the tires may be bought by consumers, but first those tires need to get to tire companies or car dealerships or car service repair companies. So that would be B2B. All these tires are going to your local auto repair shop so they can sell them and install them there. So that's kind of one example of B2B. I just wanted to find pictures that represent kind of what we're talking about just to make it super clear for you.
Yeah, that's a really good, I'm glad you pointed that out, Pam, because there's a lot of companies that they sell what looks like consumer goods, but they sell them to resellers, to wholesalers, to other businesses, and that's B2B.
Yep.
That's a
And
B2B sale.
by the way, the guy driving the forklift, that forklift is part of B2B because some company had to make the forklift for that person there to use in the tire warehouse.
And some company had to offer forklift training services and certification in order to drive that forklift. And that service is B2B. So you see where it goes, just a huge industry. So
I
move
have a
on
lot
to
of fun.
services, Pam.
Yep. Sorry. I was going to say I have a lot of fun with this topic because everything in that picture is B2B. The
Everything,
shelving, the
even the lights
lighting.
are B2B.
Yep.
The building, the commercial building is B2B.
Right.
All right. But there's another segment of B2B besides goods, and that is services. And this actually is a real opportunity for copywriters and writers. There's a lot of training companies and recruiting companies, accounting firms and legal firms, consulting firms, and executive coaching, and all kinds of other businesses that sell services to businesses. That's a huge sector. And they in particular need a lot of marketing communications to help explain and sell their services. So that could be that's a very big sector in B2B as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, software, apps, what we think of as technology, okay, enterprise technology, online apps. Like we're using Zoom right now. This is an online app. The businesses use Zoom. So Zoom is business to business. It's software as a service, and that's huge. Apps and software, but also software-driven equipment as well. I did some work not too long ago for a healthcare manufacturer who manufactured a narcotics dispensing device that was portable, but there was software integrated in that as well. So very high technology. And that's part of this as well is software and apps and data technology integrated with a hard product like that. So that's a huge part of B2B.
Yeah, and so I work in the veterinary industry mostly. I used to work for a veterinary equipment manufacturer, and they would have technologies that vet practices use to run their practices, to run lab tests, to do other diagnostic testing, digital x-rays, and that's all driven by software. So pretty much any industry you can think of, there's probably a software equipment related application to that. And I just wanted to quickly explain the term enterprise, if that's not something you're familiar with. Like, let's say something like Costco. Costco is everywhere, right? So they have offices and headquarters all over the place. So that's considered an enterprise where if they're storing things in the cloud or their shipping and inventory management system is across that entire corporation, that would be considered enterprise. Just throwing that out there in case you aren't familiar with that term.
Absolutely. And some other examples too. QuickBooks has an enterprise version for large companies that have multiple locations. Salesforce.com is a customer relationship management app. It's online. You can sign up for it yourself, but there's an enterprise version of it for companies. So there you go. Anyway, go on.
Okay.
And also, there are some companies that are both B2B and B2C. You know, insurance companies, they sell to us, consumers, but they also sell to businesses. And they also sell to brokers and advisors as well, which is another form of B2B banking. Many types of manufactured products. Like I put bed linen on this slide. You might think bed linen, how's that B2B? Well, there is companies that manufacture bed linen often have a B2B division that sells bed linen to hotels and institutions. Okay, so that's the B2B division. Sometimes it's even separately branded. They may have a separate brand name just for their B2B stuff. So bed linen, fitness equipment, furniture. Okay, so many companies have a B2B division.
I think a fitness example, sorry, that's why I had the picture here, is that you may buy, I think these are kettlebells, I'm not sure, but they're weights anyway. You may buy weights to use in your home, but if you go down to the gym, there's a whole parade of weights waiting for you to use there, and that was the B2B side. The weights were sold to that fitness center, a company. Sorry.
Yeah, you're absolutely, I think they're kettlebells.
Oh, they are kettlebells. Okay, well.
Yeah, but you're right, it's B2B, you're selling to fitness companies. Gyms. And you can move on to the next slide. Here's I have a very broad definition of B2B. So yes, businesses that sell products and services to other businesses, But I also consider businesses that sell to professionals to also be B2B, because the copy is written in much the same way. The marketing is done in much the same way. Career counseling, training and online courses, conferences and events, business travel, hotels, things of that nature. Selling to professionals is B2B. Now, that professional may expense it to their company, or their company may reimburse them or something like that, but it's still B2B in my mind. In fact, I did some work a couple of years ago for a company that sells, that provides training to lawyers to keep their professional development up to date. And although these lawyers pay for these programs themselves, it's still B2B, because it's about their career, about their business. So,
and I've done the same thing.
B2B is.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
No problem.
In the veterinary space, so I used to work for a veterinary association. And speaking of conferences and events for professional development, it's in some fields like accounting and medicine, it's required every year for them to continue with their education and earn certain credits every year that they're staying on top of their field. And so for the veterinary space, this conference would have 17,000 veterinarians and veterinary technicians come and take the courses and earn those credits. And by the way, there's lots of other stuff going on. There's a giant trade show floor. So it's just huge. I mean, if you can imagine a football field filled with a trade show that has equipment, software, services, all kinds of things for one industry, the veterinary industry. Now think of any other industry, business travel, manufacturing. I'm trying to think, like, when I go and look at conferences like in Orlando, for example, just Orlando alone at the convention center, they have a parade of conferences all year long on all kinds of things, HVAC, videography, you name it. Every industry has this huge association, conference, and events aspect to it, where people want to keep learning and growing and finding the latest great stuff for their businesses. So.
Yeah, and they do a lot of marketing, Pam, too. So there's a lot of opportunities right there, just from what you explained, for copywriters. We'll get to that a little bit later, but that's a very good example. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, so we talked about businesses that sell goods, businesses that sell services, businesses that sell to professionals, businesses that are both B2C and B2B. A lot of companies, right? Doing a little bit of research, there are about 1.3 million B2B companies in the United States that have over $1 million in sales or more than 10 employees. So that's really a good starting point for a company that is large enough to really appreciate and be actively looking for copywriting help. So 1.3 million. And if you look at really huge companies, you don't have to work for huge companies. So you look at really huge companies where there's maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, or $1 billion in sales, over 218,000 of them in the United States alone. So there's just so many companies. And the analogy I always like to use is that it's really a bottomless well of opportunities for B2B copywriters. If you are targeting business-to-business companies, if you want to write for business-to-business companies, and let's say you're reaching out there and you're introducing yourself, and if you don't land this client, well, you can simply move on to the other 1,299,000 other businesses that are out there. You never run out of prospects. You never run out of opportunities in this market, which is what I really like. And if you're looking for a niche, if you want to narrow down on a certain type of company that you'd like to work with, let's say transportation companies or training companies or consulting firms, there are literally hundreds of niche markets within B2B that you can focus on. So again, you just never run out of opportunities, which is one of the things I really like about this business.
And as we're going to reveal in a moment, you don't need many clients. You probably only need 2 to 6, maybe at the most, because every client needs a bunch of stuff. So let's check that out.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get into that in a couple of minutes, because that's really, really important. What Pam said is that in order to build a successful business as a B2B copywriter or content writer, the vision of success really is only having just a few clients that are regular clients who love your work, and you're doing business with them all the time. Some of the most successful B2B copywriters I know, when I ask them, they say, how many clients do you have? Well, I have 3 or 4 regular clients. I mean, they don't have that many. So it doesn't take that many clients to really fill out your business. But we're going to get to that. Okay.
Yep.
But let's start with what I think is probably the best opportunity in B2B, and one of the best opportunities to break into B2B, and that's through lead generation. Now, lead generation is B2B companies usually aren't going for the sale right away. They're trying to generate leads that they can follow up with later. And let me just show you an analogy here, just so you can understand what lead generation is all about. Pam, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, let's set this up. Let's say that you had a client who provided safety training programs for warehouses and distribution centers. Okay. And the average training package that they sell is a minimum $15,000. Okay. Now, how do you think that company would sell a $15,000 workplace safety program to this person? This is their target audience, the director of warehouse operations. Okay. How would they do that? And move on to the next slide, Pam. So would they have a web page that described their training program, had a buy now button at the bottom, and said, buy now while supplies last, whip out your credit card, your company credit card for $15,000 and buy our training program? Would they do that? Probably not. They probably would get into a lot of trouble if they did that, actually, because they want to do some research. They want to find out more about this training program. They want to look at they want to look at customer success stories, other companies that have used this training program. They want to get more details. Okay, and it's a much longer process. They're not going to buy on impulse right away. It's a much longer road to a sale. So, and the first step in that is generating the lead. Now, can we move on to the next slide, Pam?
Why, sure.
Yeah. So B2B companies, what they really want the most, what they really want to get the most is leads. This is what Robin Rees told me. She's a B2B marketing director. Now she's a AWAI B2B copywriter. But in an interview, she emphasized that. She said, B2B companies, we're all about leads. We want leads. That's what they want the most, because leads is the first step in the process of getting of a B2B company making a sale. Okay, is generating leads. And let me give you just a quick scenario before I move on. Actually, can we move back a couple of slides, Pam?
Sure.
Okay. So you have this person here. You have this $15,000 training program. Now, let's say, what would this company likely do? Well, they likely would offer a white paper or an ebook or a free webinar or something like that. And they might have a white paper title. I just made this up. How to update your safety program to lower insurance costs. So they might have a white paper on that, how to update your safety program to lower insurance costs in your warehousing operations. They might offer that as a white paper or an ebook, and they will put it in ads, and you'll see them on Facebook and LinkedIn. You've probably seen these types of ads before. They'd be generating a lead. Okay, so they likely would do something like that as the first stage in getting people into their buying process so they can start communicating with them and hopefully lead to a sale. Now we can just skip ahead a couple of slides. Okay, there we go. So here's just giving an idea of how long a sales process is in B2B, from generating the lead all the way along to eventually getting the sale. The road is usually quite long. In fact, if you do the math here from this chart that you see on the screen, it's like 47% of companies have a sales process that lasts anywhere from 3 months to a year. So 3 months to a year before someone decides to buy many types of B2B products. And it doesn't have to be an expensive product. If you're working with a company, for example, that has let's say a project management app, okay? In order to convince a company to change their current project management app to their project management app in order to get the sale, they're not going to do that right away. It's a big decision for them. Their staff is already used to using this project management app. So from generating the lead to communicating with them, to following up and nurturing that lead to try to persuade them to get into a conversation with them, it's usually a longer sale, 3 to 6 months. And the good news for copywriters is that there's a lot of marketing materials that need to be created on that road to a sale, from generating the lead all the way up to eventually closing the sale and beyond as well. So let's go back to a lead though, generating the lead, because lead generation is a great way to break in to the B2B market. If you can tell B2B companies, hey, I'm a copywriter and I understand lead generation and I know techniques on how you can use copywriting to generate more leads, they're going to be interested in talking to you. Okay, so a lead is basically someone who just waved their hand. Okay, it's a warehouse operations director who they've seen the white paper on how safety programs can lower insurance costs, and they click on that and they fill out a form and they become a lead for that company. So they're basically saying, yeah, I have some interest here. I'm not going to buy yet, but I'm interested in learning more. That is a lead. Okay, and B2B companies know, if you can move to the next slide, Pam, thanks. B2B companies know that leads turn to sales. The more leads they generate, the more sales they get. And some really smart companies actually know the ratio of how many leads they need to generate in order to get how many sales. Okay, so lead generation is really, really important for them. I can't emphasize this enough. If you, as a copywriter or content writer, if you can say, hey, my copywriting, my content writing can help you generate more leads, okay, they're going to be ears wide open.
Yeah, I have an example of that. So in the veterinary manufacturing company where I worked, I don't remember the exact number of veterinary practices in the US, but we had a sales force who would visit those practices at least once a month to show them all the new stuff we offer. But in the meantime, we're sending them material and inviting them to events online like webinars to show them how the newest thing works, how it helps them treat patients more effectively or pinpoint problems more easily. So they're kind of ready for that salesperson to show up before that salesperson ever does, because they've seen things already leading up to that visit. So basically our job as writers is to set up the sale, set up so that when the salesperson does call or visit, the buyer's already like primed, right? They've already seen really great material and they're like, yeah, let's talk about that. But again, it does take a while because those decisions aren't made by themselves, are not made impulsively. Often there might be a committee involved, especially like if you're selling to a corporation. I know that when I worked in marketing communications, if we were going to change anything, we'd have to go to a committee and sometimes even to the executives on the board. So there's a lot at play here, which means a lot of pieces have to come in and convince and keep convincing and keep, showing that this is the best solution for them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, a lot of copywriters, when they break into this field, they're surprised how many marketing pieces that a B2B company needs in order to eventually get a sale for a product. It's never done with one marketing piece. So we've been talking at a pretty high level, Pam, but let's break it down to, and let's take a look at a typical lead generation campaign so you can understand the different types of marketing pieces that may need to be written. And it usually begins with a free offer of some kind. Is a company will come up with a free offer. It's usually as a content offer. White papers and ebooks are really popular. Some companies use other types of documents as well. Sometimes they use a webinar, and copywriters play a role in webinars. In fact, I see that increasing lately. But they start with a free offer of some kind. So let's say it's a white paper. So they'll create a white paper, and a white paper or an ebook, 10, 12 pages. And then they'll create a landing page, if you can move on to the landing page, where people will go to, prospects will go to, fill out a form to request the white paper. Now, once they get to the landing page, they still need to be convinced, because people will click to a landing page and they won't complete the form, right? So you still got to sell them. You still got to talk about benefits. You still have to be writing motivating copy. So landing page copy is also very important. Now, already we just discussed two things, but there's the white paper that needs to be written. There's the landing page that needs to be written. Now they got to promote this white paper. Okay, how are they going to drive prospects to the landing page? And they do this in all sorts of ways. Let's look at a few. They do email campaigns. I mean, B2B companies are doing email campaigns galore. So if you're a B2B copywriter and you think you like writing emails, you're going to love B2B. They do a lot of email marketing. So they use emails. Right on their website, they'll create special promotions right on their website to promote the free white paper or ebook or whatever the free offer is. A really good example is one you see on the screen from Richardson. They're a sales training company, and they're constantly promoting their white papers, their ebooks, right on the homepage of their website. And of course, you need motivating copy around that as well. So that's a good example. Let's look at a couple more examples, Pam. Online ads, Facebook sponsored posts, direct mail, LinkedIn posts, LinkedIn ads, Google AdWords. I mean, it goes on and on. And by the way, direct mail is still alive and well in B2B. That's still used as a marketing channel, and very successfully. So this is just just some examples of the many different types of marketing pieces the B2B companies will use to promote their lead generation offer, the offer of that white paper. Remember, people who sign up for the white paper are kind of raising their hands and saying, yeah, I'm interested, and they become a sales lead for the company. And yeah, here's some other ways that it can be promoted as well. Social media posts, placed articles, blog articles will often promote the white paper. I didn't put press releases on there. Press releases, trade shows, videos. Videos are often used for promotional videos for white papers to generate leads. I mean, there's just, like I told you, you're going to be surprised how many different types of marketing pieces are used and what they need written. There's a lot of them here, okay? And what happens when a lead is generated, okay, is that there's a whole follow-up sequence to leads. Leads are followed up by the sales team. Leads are followed up by the marketing department. And by follow-up, I don't mean the next day they send an email and that's it. Remember, the sales process can be like 3 to 6 months, a year. So there's the whole follow-up thing can go on for a long time with several emails, an email newsletter, calls, and other types of marketing pieces, the creation of sell sheets, which is a type of brochure, case studies, maybe another white paper even. So there's all kinds of marketing content that is created that the marketing team and the sales team uses in order to follow up and nurture that lead and get to a point that was what Pam was saying earlier, get to a point where the lead is really hot and sales ready. So when the sales team does finally contact them and have that conversation with them, that prospect is already primed to be really interested in making a purchase of that product. And then hopefully after all that, sold. We sold the training program to this company. It's sold. Okay, so you can see what an extensive process that is. Okay, and how many different types of marketing pieces need to be created, need to be written in order for a B2B company to be successful at this. All right. So let's talk about where you come in. Where you come in as a B2B copywriter, as a B2B content writer. Okay. Some of the most popular types of offers used in lead generation. White papers and ebooks, really common. Webinars, really common. And you might not think that you as a copywriter play a role there. Play a role in writing text for the slides, for scripting for the speaker. You do a lot of things with the webinars. Free trials are really important. And even free trials. Yeah, go ahead, Pam.
I just wanted to throw in, like, webinar, you might be thinking, but what does that have to do with copywriting? So I can give you an example.
Yeah.
I have done work off and on for a B2B marketing agency out of Arizona. And the most recent project I did was, out of the blue, they asked me if I could create the webinar content for Amazon England, Amazon UK. They wanted to do presentations online to businesses in the UK and talk about how Amazon can set up inventory management and all this other stuff. And they gave me a speech that someone had put together, and I had to take that speech and come up with slides like the ones you're looking at today that walk through the sales argument. So it was crazy. I was like, okay, sure, I'll give it a try. And because I do webinar slides for us, for AWAI, it was actually a blast. And I just took the speech and I broke it into chunks and logic and the flow, and sent it off to them, never heard again, got the check. It must have been great. I don't know. But that's the kind of thing, because a lot of people who want to be thought leaders or get in front of their audience, they're not writers in any way, and they're not even professional presenters. So they need writers to take that information, that big gaumy speech that was, you know, hundreds of words, and turn it into a very simple presentation with a great flow. So you'd be surprised at how many companies just don't have those skills and really need someone like you to help help with clear, persuasive communication. So I just want to throw that out there.
You're absolutely right, Pam. That's a very good example. And also I'm finding that companies are using webinars as their free offer, much more so than they have before. That's kind of growing. But white papers and ebooks, which are really fun to write and very lucrative, are also very, very popular as well. Let's take a look at some other types of marketing pieces that B2B companies use, though. We've been talking a lot about the offer and lead generation, but let's move on to the next slide.
Okay.
And because there's other marketing tools that B2B companies use, case studies, which are customer success stories, really fun to write. You get to interview the customer, your client's customer, kind of get their story, their happy story about how they use the product and how it's going for them, and create an article, a story out of it. Very lucrative type of project and a lot of fun. Brochures and sell sheets, which is a specialized type of brochure. You mentioned slide presentations, Pam. Emails, not just emails for lead generation, but emails for follow-up, emails for customer communications, emails. Companies do a lot of email campaigns. Articles, videos, infographics, you know, it just goes on and on, the different types of marketing pieces that B2B companies use.
And mind you, one company, one client needs all of this. They really do, because every day is super competitive, right? All their competitors are putting out all this stuff. So like if you're working for one manufacturing company, they need all of this.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I'll give you an example. I did a lead generation campaign for a company a couple months ago, and I ended up doing the ebook for them, doing all the ads and emails to promote it, the press release, doing the follow-up emails after that, creating 2 customer success stories, case studies, and expect to be doing a lot more tools with them as well. And that was just all one package, one project. It was a big project. So yeah, it's not like a company just uses case studies and that's it. No, they use the full range of marketing communications to generate leads and follow up on leads and sell, because they have to be competitive. Okay, so where do you come in? Why is copywriting so important to B2B companies? I can tell you, here's something I hear from B2B marketing directors, B2B business owners all the time. I hear this all the time. They say, you know, there's a lot of copywriters out there, but I can't find anybody who understands B2B. I can't find a writer who really knows B2B, knows how to write for lead generation, understands B2B. I can't find someone like that. I hear that all the time from B2B companies. They are looking, they're eagle-eyed. They are looking for B2B copywriters. I can't emphasize that enough. They are looking for people who know this stuff. And why is that? Let's move on to the next slide. Here's based on a couple of surveys, what B2B marketers say is their most important lead generation tool. So they're asked, what's your number one tool? Websites, landing pages. And by the way, Pam, we didn't even talk about websites. Projects are huge.
And that's my main thing I've always offered is what is on the actual website, what's on each page of the content. It's a never-ending awesome opportunity because most websites are horrific, as you probably know. You can't even tell what the company offers or why the visitor should stick around or do anything there. It's really amazing how even sophisticated big companies just aren't clear on their website or leading that person down a path of happiness.
Oh yeah, there's well, I showed you that web page for Richardson earlier, which does a very good job at lead generation. But writing home pages and product pages and service pages and about pages and offer pages, and companies are constantly changing things up in their websites too, so they need new stuff. So websites is a big opportunity. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Websites, landing pages, email, blog posts, articles. B2B companies produce a lot of articles because they want to be seen as experts. Trade shows and live events, white papers, ebooks, social media, video, webinars. This is what B2B companies are saying are their number one lead generation tool. They need other types of marketing materials, other tools, but for lead generation, these are it. And let's move to the next slide.
By the way, all of this needs copy. Did you notice that? Web pages need copy, landing pages need copy, email, blah, 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 blah. That's why you're so important to them.
Yeah. See, and I even said it on the slide. Look, need great copyright. Yeah, move back to that slide again.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, move back to one slide. Thanks. Yeah, because I don't want to come on too strong here, but I want to emphasize this: is B2B companies know this. They know these things need great copyright in order to be successful. Now you don't have to sell it on it. They know that if they have great copy for a landing page, they're going to get more people signing up for it. They know if they have great copy for their website, they'll engage more of the visitors. More of those visitors will become leads. Email especially. They're always hungry for B2B copywriters who know how to write clear, persuasive, engaging emails that get good open rates, that get good click-through rates. Okay, they're looking for that. They know copywriting is key. Okay, so you play a big role here. Let's move on to the next slide. And let me just give you an example, just to show you how B2B companies think about this. Okay, let's say that you were hired to write a landing page for a lead gen offer. Now remember, they have a white paper, they go to a landing page to sign up for it. There's some copy on that page, some persuasive, engaging, descriptive copy on that page to motivate them to sign up. And let's say they get a 10% conversion rate. That means 10% of the people who end up on the landing page will sign up and download the white paper and become a lead. All right. So if you go through the numbers, 1,000 visits to the landing page equals 100 leads. If they have a 5% lead conversion, that means 5% of those leads end up becoming a sale. They end up with 5 new sales. Okay. Now let's say you come in as a copywriter and you know how to write a better headline. You know how to write more motivating copy. And let's say you increase just because of your copy, you increase the conversion rate by 10 to 13%. Now, I can tell you, you could probably double it. You could probably increase it to 20%. I'm trying to be very conservative here. But let's say you increase it just 3 percentage points. 1,000 visits become 130 leads, 5% conversion. You end up with 6 or 7 new sales for the company. All right. Now, if it's a $100,000 industrial product, you just help that company make an extra $100,000 to $200,000. Even if it's a $10,000 product, you help that company make $10,000 to $20,000 more in sales based on those 1,000 visits. Because your copywriting helped boost conversion rates, help make that landing page more effective, engaging, clear, persuasive. Okay, companies know this. So they're looking for good copywriters that can do this. Now let's take a look at fees, how much you can charge. All right. And we just gave you just some ideas here. Obviously, they vary depending on the scope of the project, depending on the company and things of that nature. But for website pages, landing pages, you're looking at around $500 per page. Okay. Emails vary widely because sometimes you can have a very short email. Sometimes you have a longer, more critical closing email. But emails usually $250 to $750 each. And you never get hired to write one email. It's always a campaign. Yeah. It's always 4, 5, 6 emails in a series. So it becomes a much bigger project when you think of that.
And one great thing about B2B companies is they're not just going to hire you to write a few emails and then say, well, that's awesome. Have a nice day. It was fun working with you. No, they have to do this every month for getting new leads, for staying in touch with their current customers, for retention. And so you could set up a retainer agreement. And what that means is a monthly agreement where you're writing a set amount of items for them, like blog posts, like emails, like articles. So it's kind of job security. Once you're in with a client and they really like your work, they're not going to stop, really. They can't. They have to keep marketing, and they want you to keep helping them. That's the beautiful thing about all this.
Yes, Pam. In fact, in B2B, the trend right now is for B2B companies to put freelance copywriters and content writers on retainer. They want to get you on retainer because they want to kind of lock you in, because B2B companies tend to be very loyal. Once they find a B2B copywriter that they like, they hold on to them, and that person becomes their go-to copywriter. So they're really open to retainer agreements. They really want to put you on retainer, and that's a growing trend right now. More and more companies are doing that. And you can see some of the other prices on the screen: articles, trade shows, white papers, social media, video. So this is a market. I want to be clear here. This isn't the kind of market. B2B is not the kind of market where you could write a long sales letter and make $40,000 in royalties. It's not that kind of market. It is a market where the fees are really, really good, and you can get really steady clients, and you can build a very successful and B2B copywriting business with really good fees and really good income, and working with some really great people, working with some really great companies. That's the kind of market this is.
I just wanted to mention that we have a pricing guide, if you're not familiar with it, where we include 75 different projects, including all the ones that we did talk about here today. And you can just get it for free. Go to awai.com/copywriter-rates. And all you need to do is download the free guide. It's all there with lots of other great information too, not just the fee ranges, but what marketers need today from us, copywriters, and how that all works. So that's a cool tool if you haven't checked it out yet. All right, now this is one of my favorite subjects, because you're like, this sounds amazing. How do I find those clients? And we have a bunch of ways. If you're here at Inside AWAI today, you probably already know that we've got a lot of pre-recorded sessions already on how to get clients, and that's what that picture is on the right. That's our Inside AWAI page. You just scroll down. There's a whole section on landing assignments and building your business. So I do encourage you to check that out. All of the ideas that we have for you there apply to B2B companies as well as B2C, business to consumer. How to get your foot in the door, what are the top paying projects, how to find clients on LinkedIn. And let me tell you, that's where all the business people are. They're on LinkedIn. So we have an amazing session on that, and I wanted to just point that out to you. If you go to our website and just type in Inside AWAI, you'll find that page with all of these resources we've already created for you. In addition, so I mentioned LinkedIn. I highly recommend you watch that free session on LinkedIn to really understand how to present yourself and reach out to prospects. There are lots of job boards like Indeed.com, SimplyHired.com, and what you'll find there is if you type into the search box B2B copywriter, you're going to find all kinds of companies looking for writers, whether they're freelancers or staff, and maybe a staff position might be right up your alley. You may want that. But you know what you'll notice is that many of them want someone who understands their industry. So if you've worked in transportation or healthcare, or for me, veterinary medicine, they will love you instantly, and you'll stand out from all of the writers. So be looking online for all those opportunities that are out there for finding. Now, B2B marketing agencies, I mentioned earlier, there are several in this country. I don't know about Canada, but in the US for sure. They need writers all the time who have specialties that their own staff writers may not have. So most agencies have a copywriter, but are they experts on white papers? Maybe not. So that's where you could come in and fill the gap for them and their clients. And then national and local business associations, for example, I used to live in Eugene, Oregon, and they have an annual business expo, a local business expo, and every type of company imaginable would be there. So I just walk around and says, well, who does your web content for you? And they're like, oh, well, somebody on our IT team, and they're really not good at it, and we know we need help. Well, I'm like, well, that's what I do. I can help you. So face-to-face, well, not right this minute, but face-to-face, is awesome too, if you're willing to go out there and meet people. Steve, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but right now, LinkedIn is hot, hot, hot. It's a great place to get going.
It's red hot. If I was to pick some that I would recommend focusing on and learning more about is LinkedIn, because 95% of your B2B prospects, your clients, are on LinkedIn. You know, they may not be active, but they're there. Okay, so LinkedIn is the place to be. And LinkedIn offers all kinds of ways to connect with potential clients. So, I mean, I wake up every morning saying thank you, LinkedIn, because it's just a wonderful tool. But also, what Pam said about associations, if there's an association or group about the industry that you're targeting, whether transportation industry, or I used to belong to a consultants association, because I do a lot of work for consultants, then consider joining that association, because they give you a lot of opportunity. It's not just going to a conference. They sometimes will have meetings every month, webinars. They might have a newsletter. You could contribute articles for the newsletter, things of that nature. They just offer lots of opportunities for you to connect with potential clients.
Yeah, I mean, I used to work for a veterinary association. They had a website, they have emails, they have events going on. They have, oh my gosh, one of my favorite projects was an annual tabloid 24-page newspaper that was published at their annual conference. So 4 days in a row, tons of content. And I used to pre-write most of it. And it was an amazing gig, really well paid. And so there's just so much you can, oh gosh, I mean, I get so excited about this because there's so much you can do for one company, even one client, that it's almost limitless.
Yeah, and I realize we mentioned this before, but I just want to emphasize again, this isn't the kind of opportunity where you need to constantly get clients and get gigs, and you need a lot of clients. Successful B2B copywriters usually have 3, 4, 5 regular clients and that are with them for years. So you build this base of clients that really like your work and you like working with them. That's the definition of success. So if you have 0 clients now, when you think of it, you're only 2 or 3 or 4 good clients away from having a very successful freelance copywriting business.
Yep.
In B2B.
The Q&A time now. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides. We've got Helen, who has been looking at the questions on Zoom here, and then Jade, who's been in the live Facebook feed. And between the two of them, we're happy to answer any questions you have about all of this fascinating and exciting information.
Okay, Pam, the first question I have is how do you work with the legal department with evaluations of your copywriting?
Yeah, sometimes with some marketing pieces, your client will send your copy to legal. We're going to send it to legal in order for the legal department to go through it. A lot of big corporations have this process. You're really not that involved in it. You might get your clients sending the copy back saying, we have to change this or that because our legal department said they don't want to refer to that. That sometimes happens, but it's not really something that you come across very often as a B2B copywriter. Keep in mind that you're writing copy for real products. You're writing copy for forklift trucks and pumps and valves and consulting services. You're not writing copy for spammy products. I mean, these are B2B products purchased by other businesses. There's really not that many issues involved with getting kickback by legal.
And having worked at a corporation with a legal person who looked at all the material that went out, the client will give you the parameters. So they'll usually say, this might be a sensitive thing, but we've already run this by legal. Here's what we can say, and here's what we can't say. Here's how we can represent this, and here's what we have to stay away from. So they want you to succeed so that it works for them. So they're going to usually give you all the information that's already been edicted from legal so that you know how to write what you're writing for them. You've been given kind of the framework.
Absolutely.
Okay. The next question I have is, how did Steve get his start?
Well, I got my start in the mid-1990s before I even knew what the word copywriting was. And I don't want to tell the big story here, but I'll tell the short version. I wanted to work from home. I knew I liked writing. I had a background in sales And I thought, you know, I wonder if there's a way I can combine these three passions into a career. And I just jumped in and did it. I did it part-time for 3 years. So I was a moonlighter, a side hustle for 3 years until I grew to a point where I had that amazing day where I wrote my I quit letter and quit my day job, my job. And it's been great ever since.
I had an amazing day like that too. Goodbye, cubicles.
Okay, here's a question from Jill. She says, the output from these projects can be very small, but I know from doing lots of writing, PowerPoint presentations, lectures, etc., in my job that there are hours and hours of work that goes into producing even small output. What is the average time that goes into these projects that you are discussing?
Well, one thing for sure is that the first time you write a white paper or a case study or an email series, it's going to take 4 times longer the first time than it will the second time. So, you know, you learn and you do it and you get faster and faster. Now, I've gotten pretty fast. I mean, I can write a case study right from interviewing the customer to getting it all done before lunch. Okay. So I can do it pretty quick. But the first time I did it, it took longer, you know, but you just learn and do it more quickly. I can't give you a definitive, this is how long it takes to write a page of copy answer, because it's different for everybody.
But one thing I wanted to add to that real quickly is that's why we encourage you not to charge by the hour, but charge by the project. And B2B clients are typically used to that, paying for each project, because as you get faster, you don't want to get less money for your time, right? So if you're writing a white paper and it takes you 10 hours the first time, might take you 8 hours the next time, might take you 6 hours the next time, so you're still getting the same amount of money. So you're actually upping your hourly income. That's why you don't charge by the hour.
Yeah, charge by the project, and B2B companies want you to do that. They really don't want you to charge by the hours. Too many unknowns, like how long you're going to take, you know. Charge by the project.
They have to stick with budgets too, so.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
So how about design, Steve? How does the design of all these materials get done in the B2B world?
Well, usually sorry to
That's okay, nope, go ahead.
Usually your B2B client will take care of design. They might have a designer in-house. They might have a freelancer that they're working with. They might have a design firm that they work with. And they take care of the design. Usually you don't have to worry about that at all. You don't have to offer design services. If you want to,
never.
If you're a professional designer, go ahead. You offer design and copy, go ahead. But if you're not a professional designer or don't want to offer that service, you don't have to. You can just be the copywriter, and that's what B2B companies are looking for. Now, it's a good idea to collaborate with the designer. I always make it a point when I take on a new project with a client and I don't know the designer, I always ask, hey, can you give me the name of the designer so we can collaborate together? And I'll get that person's name. I'll email them. I'll introduce myself, just so we can work together and collaborate. But that's as far as it goes.
Okay, so from Christine, who's a copywriter and a graphic designer, should she market herself as both, do you think? Or
it's really a preference for you. I mean, if you're sick of design, I don't want to do design for clients ever again, then your design background is actually going to be very helpful to you as a copywriter. You can just offer copywriting services. However, if you still want to offer design and copy is a killer combination, because you're delivering the entire product then, right? You can write a sell sheet, design a sell sheet, deliver the sell sheet, right? So that helps the client. So something you might want to consider.
Okay, a couple of questions about the B2B program that you're going to be teaching coming up, Steve. Howard says, my writing is usually about as interesting as a medicine bottle. Do you show us how to write in the program? Is that part of what
first of all, what's written on a medicine bottle, if it's clear and accurate, then you're halfway there in B2B, because B2B copy needs to be clear and accurate, right? You don't want to make a mistake in an enterprise software about functionality and things like that. So the medicine bottle is a good start. But then, yes, I'll teach you how to be creative and freshen up and be engaging and conversational and persuasive.
Okay, now we have some questions about getting started. The first one is do you have any advice for getting started during the corona crisis right now?
Yeah. There are a lot of companies there that need copywriting today. One thing I'm finding, and the reason why I'm busy right now, so busy, is that companies are looking at their existing marketing materials and campaigns and saying, we can't send this stuff out. It doesn't reflect the reality of what we're going through right now. So they need to redo everything. So I've done a lot of work redoing marketing materials and email campaigns and messages, the social media posts and blog posts and things like that for companies, because they just need this work done. So what I would suggest to you is you don't have to have any special strategy about, just get out there and start promoting your services to companies. There are companies there that need you.
Okay, and how do you negotiate pricing as a newbie? Someone here is interested in case studies and white papers, how to get that foot in the door without experience, and what would you consider to be a good sample to present?
Well, you want to put your best foot forward, okay? And so never go to a client and say, I'm a beginner, give me a chance. They're not going to hire you. Put your best foot forward. You say, I've been trained in B2B copywriting. I have a sample of a case study here that I did in the professional development course. I could show you that. You know, I know how to write a case study that's strategic and compelling, that can help you generate leads and move people through the sales process. I mean, have that kind of conversation with them. Tell them what you can do, not what you can't do. Right. Okay, and that's how you convince people to give you a try.
Great. And when you were talking about ebooks, that's not, you don't post ebooks on Amazon
no.
or anything like that. You're writing the ebook for the client and they're going to do with it what they do with it.
Yeah, and I know there's a confusion there because we go on Amazon and we see novels in ebook format. In B2B lead generation, what they mean by an ebook is a document anywhere from 7 to maybe 15 pages. It's a short little booklet, okay, and they use for lead generation. They call it an ebook.
It's sometimes in the form of a special report, like or a how-to guide, or something like that. Like a company will do a survey of a bunch of veterinarians, for example, and they'll put the findings into an ebook or a report that then will educate the rest of the veterinary community. And I know that how-to guides are really helpful forms of ebooks too. So.
Yeah, when I started, they used to be almost entirely called special reports. Yep. But then people got tired of seeing special reports, so they changed the name. Oh, we'll call them ebooks now, and then we'll call them white papers. They just keep changing the name around, but it's basically the same thing. It's a short document with some really good, helpful information that they can use as a free offer in their lead generation.
Okay, this one I think might be more for Pam. What kind of leverage does AWAI certification have on landing clients, and how important are other certifications such as Google AdWords, Tableau Certified, Salesforce? How do those push your success as a copywriter?
I just read this amazing report in the very technical world of training magazine, and it said, it was amazing. It was an article called Certification is Currency. So even though your client may not know what it means to be certified as a white paper specialist or a case study specialist or any of those things, once they know, just seeing that seal gives you credibility, because they know in their world people have to get certified for software applications or safety issues or other things like that, and they recognize it as a stamp that you have done rigorous training, you've completed projects, you've passed some sort of test or assessment. And it's a wonderful article. I was about to do a blog post for us on that very thing, because it's kind of universal. Even if like, I don't know what SaaS certification is, but if you see someone that has it, you suddenly have that instant in or credibility or mark that sets you apart. So I think it's highly valuable to have something like that.
I couldn't agree more.
Steve, here's someone who's listened to and read almost all of your offerings on AWAI. What is the benefit of the 12-week course over that?
It's a full, intensive, comprehensive course, and it's not just sitting back and watching videos and making notes. It's full immersion. I mean, you get me for 12 weeks. I think that's and I think that's probably the big difference. It's not an online course that you watch passively. It's full immersion. You get instruction. You get me. You get my mentoring and coaching. You get the portfolio building assignments, and those are real value. I mean, you end up with examples you can put in your portfolio at the end of this. So it's just a more comprehensive, probably the most comprehensive training program for B2B copywriting that I know of.
And should you be finished with the AWAI training before you can take the program?
That's up to you. It really has to do with how much time you have. You know, if you have time to jump in with both feet into the 12 weeks to B2B Copywriting Mastery Program, if you can set aside the time, you're good to go. There's no prerequisite. You don't have to have taken another course in order to jump into this one.
So Judith has the question. You showed how good copy can increase leads, leading to improved conversion rates. Conversion rates, however, depend sometimes on the company or the sales team. How do you demonstrate that what you do increases those rates?
Well, for a landing page, the conversion rate has a lot to do with the landing page. The salespeople don't come in until later on. I realize there's different conversions in the sales cycle, right? There's the conversion to get the lead. There's the conversion to follow up on the lead to make them sales ready. There's other measurements that happen, key performance indicators, KPIs that happen along the sales process. Copywriters play a role, and a big role in the early part in lead generation. I think the only role that's probably bigger than copywriting in lead generation is the strategy. It's okay, what are we going to do? A webinar or a white paper? Where are we going to advertise it? That's the strategy part. And you can be part of that conversation with clients as well. But that's probably the most important. But the next one down is copywriting.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Someone who's new to this, they've done some writing, but how long might it take them while working full time to get trained and up to speed before they can start looking for clients?
Well, you can learn to play a guitar from scratch in a month or two if you really dig in and go for it. I mean, you can learn anything very quickly as you want. So, you know, I've actually had people who've taken this program who got their first client during the program. Okay, they just started reaching out partway through the program, and they landed the first client. So
and I was going to add that
as you need to.
I was going to say, and Steve makes it so clear and with examples and exercises and everything that you're grasping the concepts as you go, so you can feel comfortable reaching out or, you know, starting something.
And do you think it's easier to start with a niche within B2B, Steve?
It's a good idea to focus on a target industry, to aim your marketing in some direction at the beginning, because things will happen faster for you. Now, do you have to stick with that niche forever? Are you married to it forever? No. But it's a good idea to have a target market that you're focused on.
I have one little caveat.
Go ahead.
If you don't know which industry you want to work in, let's say you've worked in insurance forever and you're so darn sick of insurance you never want to work in insurance again. There are B2B agencies, like I said, and they have a variety of clients. So the one that I've worked for over the years has identity theft client, commercial dumpster client. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, lawn seed for golf courses. It's really interesting. And then Amazon UK, like I said. So that can be a way where you try on different industries for size and see what you gravitate toward or kind of like more than others. And, you know, there are B2B, if you Google B2B agencies or marketing firms, you could certainly reach out to them in LinkedIn and see if they've got all the writing they need or if they need some help. And then if you get in with them, they've got a variety. So that's an alternative.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's a very good suggestion. There are a ton of B2B design agencies, advertising agencies, marketing agencies, content marketing agencies around, okay? And they all are using freelancers. They may have some writers in-house, but for certain projects like white papers and ebooks, for example, they don't want to do that in-house. It just bogs things down. I mean, they don't want their staff to be writing a white paper for 2 weeks. So they like to farm that stuff out to trusted freelancers. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Very quickly, on Inside AWAI, we have a whole session that Jen Adams and I did a little while ago on working with agencies and marketing firms. So check that out, because that could be content marketing firms as well. Not Upwork or things like that, but more sophisticated full-service agencies that need writers for all their clients.
Yeah, let's be very clear here. We're not talking about job boards. We're talking about agencies that have clients and they're bringing you in to help them with their clients.
Okay. Just like Cliff Notes that we use to help us get the general gist of a subject in high school, is there a specific source that we can go to get a general idea of what goes on for a particular industry, or a B2B summary of tips or something in that industry? And if not, should we be developing our own?
I'm not sure I quite understand the question. I mean, if you want to target a particular industry and you want to learn more about it, is there a quick way to do it? Is that your question?
That is the question.
Okay. What you do, a great analogy that I got from Gordon Graham. He used to be a reporter, a journalist. And he said, if you're the travel journalist and suddenly your editor says, hey, you're on the crime beat now, what do? You learn all about the crime beat. You just dig into it. I mean, there's no magic formula. There's no Cliff Notes you can get off the shelf. You just dig into it and find out everything you can about it so you can do that beat. I remember years ago when I first started writing for insurance companies, the B2B side of insurance companies, I knew nothing about insurance, except that if I crashed my car, they might help me out. That's all I knew. So I got a book on a glossary of insurance terms. And I went through the glossary, and just going through the glossary kind of gave me a little more clarity of what they're all about. Then I visited some websites. I kind of dug into it. I just got really curious. And before I knew it, I had a pretty clear picture of how the insurance business works and how insurance marketing works.
One other idea is to Google trends in an industry, like construction trends. I've seen lots of articles each year, like Inc. magazine or Entrepreneur or Forbes. They put out like an annual prediction, no, that's not the right word, forecast of what's going to be hot this year in commercial construction or whatever it is, payroll services. So, just to dig online, you'll find all kinds of information on a certain industry.
That's an excellent tip.
Do companies need brochures these days? Yeah,
the most popular type of brochure in B2B is the sell sheet. And that is a flat brochure, 8.5 by 11 page, printed usually both sides. And the reason why that's so popular is they can produce them very quickly. And it's very versatile. Salespeople can give them out or email them. They can have them as a download on their websites. So that kind of brochure is very popular. I write a lot of sell sheets. And the good thing is that sometimes a company will have one product and like 10 different sell sheets for it. They'll have a sell sheet for how the product works in the healthcare industry, and then another sell sheet for how the same product works in the transportation industry. So yeah, you'll be writing a lot of sell sheets.
You know what? There's an art to sell sheets too, because you don't want to cram everything and plus the kitchen sink in a sell sheet. It has to be the top benefits, why the reader cares, what's in it for them, what to do next. It might be a free demo or something like that, but it's got to be really concise. And a lot of marketing directors have a hard time getting it down to that. So that's where you're editing and you put your persuasive hat on and think, what's the biggest benefit for the reader? And get that on the top of the sheet and then point out some, facts to back up your big promise or whatever like that. I mean, I've done so many veterinary sell sheets, and a lot of them like, well, it's the new laser equipment. They should just love it. And I'm like, why? Why would they love it? What does it do for them? And it's like, finally you get the answer. Oh, it'll help them diagnose problems in 6 minutes while the patient's right there. And I'm like, that's the headline on the sell sheet. And then you back it up with bing, 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 and you're done. But it takes that genius brain of yours as a writer to separate all that other stuff or that technical stuff into why does a reader care.
And I'll tell you something, if you write a good sell sheet and the sales team gets back to marketing and says, wow, this is a great sell sheet, thank you, you're going to be a hero to that marketing director.
Okay, how good does your own website have to be when offering your service to a client?
Well, it needs to be very well written, because your first portfolio sample, the first example of the writing that your client will see when they're learning more about you and your copywriting services is your website. So you got to make sure your website is really well written, because they're going to judge you by that. Sometimes a client will contact you for a project after going through your website, and they don't even ask for a portfolio sample because they read your website. They got a sense of your writing and your style. And that was enough for them to contact you. So make sure your website's really well written.
Okay, I have a question here. when you have samples and portfolio pieces, but they
Mhm.
haven't been published, how do you break through the people wanting to see published work?
I think what you mean by that, stuff you've done, for clients that the clients have actually used, right? They've
Right,
actually
exactly. Yeah,
produced the sell sheet, they put
right.
up the web page, things of that nature. There's no doubt about it. If you have a finished piece, then that's great. But if your piece hasn't been done yet, if you wrote a blog post that hasn't been posted yet, or you wrote a brochure copy or an email campaign, but you don't have the actual email campaign, you have a picture of it you can use. You can still use that as a portfolio sample. It's not quite as good, but it could be good enough. The way you do is you present it to the client. You say, here's an example of my email copywriting for a B2B company. Okay, still in progress. They haven't used it yet. Here's an example of how I wrote it, and just send it into them. Because at the end of the day, what they want to see is an example of your writing, right?
And a little tip on that too, they don't need a lot. You don't need 30 pieces on your website. They're not going to look at them all. They don't have time. They're like, okay, we got it. They're great. If they just see a few good pieces, that's all they need. And your web copy, by the way, is a writing sample. How are you speaking to how you can help the client on your website? If you're proving to them that you're a great choice for them because you have a background in their industry or whatever, that's a great sample right there.
Make your website your best example, your best writing sample.
Good. So Nick asks, I'm looking to enter the B2B industry. I hold a degree in business management, but not an experience in the industry. What might be a good place to start in the B2B market without much knowledge of it?
I didn't have any experience when I started, and I also had a business degree. I never worked for an agency, never worked in a marketing department. So you could pretty much start anywhere. I would recommend that if you have a particular background that lends itself to some sector or industry in B2B, at least consider starting there, because you can leverage your background and experience. But you don't necessarily have to. You can start in an area in B2B, a certain type of company or industry or sub-industry that you particularly are attracted to, and start there.
And when you are choosing a niche, should you stay relatively broad within an industry, for instance, the B2B medical industry companies, or narrower medical device companies? Do you have an opinion?
I'm going to give you some contrarian advice. Start broad. Start broad.
Isn't that contrarian?
I know a lot of gurus out there say pick a narrow niche. In B2B, start broad. So you're specific enough that you're still focused, but broad enough so you can say yes to many different opportunities, because you don't know how your career is going to unfold. I write a lot for sales training companies and real estate training companies. I had no idea I'd end up there. So you want to start broad, okay? That's what I recommend.
It's not contrary at all, because in 2009, when I decided to put myself out there as a freelance writer for the veterinary industry, I actually called my company petcopywriter.com. How broad is that, right? The pet industry? You got food and leashes and collars and veterinary equipment and oh my gosh. And I never regretted that. I never had a problem because I got a variety of clients. They all understood that I write for the pet industry, and it was super fun because it was a variety of different types of projects and clients. That now is owned by a veterinarian who bought it from me, and she's an AWI member and copywriter. So if you go on there, you'll see Tammy, not me. But that was my approach, was just to stay pet copywriter, which is very broad, but it was super fun, and I never looked back.
So in regards to the program that you're teaching coming up, Steve, should they complete AWAI's training on white papers, case studies, or other things so that they get some training and practice before they sign on to work with you?
They don't have to. You don't have to have a prerequisite for my program. You can start my program from scratch. If you're taking the case study program or something, that's great, but you don't need to.
Okay.
There's nothing you need to finish to start my program.
Okay. And to what degree will you help with advice on identifying the best opportunities in the B2B niches?
To what degree? A huge degree. I get right into it with you. In fact, several students, when they go through the program, they sometimes will get an inquiry or they'll get a meeting with a client. And I always say, let's talk first. And I get on a Zoom call with them, and we'll go over what they need to say and how they need to approach that meeting, because I want them to get the project, right? So I work with you to that extent.
Okay. I do have someone asking, actually a couple people asking, if you are willing to give your website that you point clients at and that you have samples that they can view.
I don't have samples on my website. I prefer to send samples to clients when they have an inquiry after I have a meeting with them. I just find that's best. But, you know, that's just the way I do it. Some other copywriters like to put samples on their website for everyone to see. That's fine too. You know, so I do it both ways. But my website is my name, steveslaunwhite.com. You can visit me there.
Okay. And then someone's asking, I'm having an issue marrying my interests with my background and applying it to the B2B world. How would you suggest that I approach this barrier?
Well, you don't need to marry your experience with the B2B world, but it can help. Like if you're a teacher, for example, and I've worked with a lot of teachers who got into B2B, you know, one industry could be the training and development industry. That's huge in B2B, training companies, okay? Because there's a connection there between teaching, education, and B2B training, okay? It's not the same, but there's a connection, and you can create a bridge for yourself and pivot towards B2B copywriting that way. But you don't have to. I've started writing I've written for a lot of industries over the past 25 years where I didn't have any initial experience at all. You know, I just learned as I went. You know, that's fine too.
Okay. It's kind of fun once you learn the mechanics or the way that you brief a client and then the way that you lay out your argument and all that stuff. You can apply it to any industry. Like I said, you know, the B2B agency I worked for said, "Can you do a website on commercial dumpsters?" And I'm like, "Sure." Do I know anything about commercial dumpsters? No, but I knew how to interview and get the material I needed and apply what I know about writing to the commercial dumpster world, and there you go.
Okay, Steve and Pam, I took Steve's awesome course last fall, loved it, and had added some B2B travel companies to my client base. She's been in B2C travel for many years. As you can imagine, both have pretty much tanked. Wondering about ideas for quickly making a change.
You have a couple of choices. You could make a change and try to work in a related industry, pivot to another industry. It might be a really good idea right now. But keep in mind that when travel comes back, it's going to come back from a marketing standpoint. It's going to come back strong, because the first thing the travel companies that get through this are going to do is they're going to market like crazy, because they want to re-grab their market share. They want to reacquire their customers. They want to brand. They want to get out there. They're going to go like crazy. So keep that in mind as well. Yeah, it's a tough decision because they're not going to be doing that for a while. So what do you do in the short term? Maybe if there's another niche or industry that you've always wanted to try writing for, might be a good idea to start targeting that industry. You may end up with another niche that really works out well for you.
Like food and wine goes together with travel, right?
Yeah.
There's wine clubs, for example, online, or, you know, I just think of all the things that are kind of tied to travel that people are doing online now. I've seen some museums doing online tours, you know, where they have beautiful visual tours instead of you going there. There might be some things that are clever that you can tap into and help with. Just thinking.
Okay, Pam, I have a couple questions in Facebook, if you don't mind.
Bring them on, sure.
Okay, so Mary Ottman is on Facebook, and she basically had she had a client and obviously wanted to be able to use the work that she used for them as a sample, but they said that they did not want that to happen while the campaign was active. And she was wondering if you have any advice on how long she should wait to reach out again to use that sample.
Yeah, that sometimes happens where you'll write for a client and they're rolling out a campaign. Maybe it's for a new product, and they don't want the competition to see all that until it's completely unfolded, until the campaign is over. That happens sometimes, and you just have to respect that. And sorry you have to wait in order to be able to use that writing sample, but you know, in respect to the client, you need to do that. Keep in mind, you have to wait a little bit to use that writing example to get other clients, but you have this one client. So, if you have this one client, do whatever you can to give that client an excellent experience of working with you, respect their wishes when it comes to using their pieces for your portfolio sample, because you want that client to become a regular client for you.
Yeah, that's great. They may need other stuff from you, but also maybe ask them for a testimonial. And you could post a testimonial on your website. Like, we love what she did. We're testing it now. It seems to be great, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Maybe that's an option too, instead of a sample.
That's an excellent idea, Pam.
And then the second one from Angela, she's struggling to figure out who her target client is and wondering if you have any advice on targeting in on a client.
You probably mean targeting a particular industry or a niche market. You got to look at different things. Your background, your professional and personal background and experience. Is there something there that points you to a particular type of industry? What you enjoy writing about. Maybe you don't like writing highly technical stuff. Maybe you're more like the service industry resonates with you more, where you think you'd be better writing for consultants and training companies and accountants. Things of that nature. So you just got to think of your interests, think of your background, and also you want to make sure that the target market is a target market that's going to need good copywriters. And in B2B, that's most markets, but you want to make sure that as well. So
I have something to throw in here.
Yeah.
Just in case she's asking who is the actual person at a company to reach out to. Well, that's a different thing. And I may be misinterpreting, but she might be asking about that. We actually have an Inside AWAI session on that. It's called, I think, Understand What Clients Want and How to Approach Them. And we talk about the different roles that clients who might hire you have. One of them is a corporate marketing person. And what is their day like? What are they looking for? What do they need from you? We go through that so that you can understand their mindset when you approach them and how to make their day. So
that's excellent. I'm glad you had that session. Because you really got to understand who your potential clients are. B2B marketing directors are one of them. Sometimes the smaller companies, it's the business owner because they do a lot of their own marketing. Sometimes it's the ad agency or design agency account executive or owner. Okay, and knowing what their world is like and what they're looking for is going to help you approach them.
Okay, what's your take on the agriculture industry? Is there a lot of opportunity there in the B2B world?
It's huge. Huge.
Okay.
Just Google agri-marketing. You'll see associations and agencies and marketing services galore. It's huge.
it's huge.
Okay. Sorry, I have another question for you. I'm just finishing typing something. Sorry.
All right, Jay, do you have anything from Facebook? Were you pretty much caught up there?
That was the two that I had.
Okay.
Beautiful.
What sources can I use to learn how to create a website for my business?
We have on Inside AWAI, believe it or not. Yep, a whole session on that. So we have a bunch of sessions of all topics you can think of, and several of them are about putting yourself out there, landing clients, building your business. So we talk about your website, we talk about your LinkedIn profile, and other ways to reach out. As a matter of fact, we did one session called 26 different ways to market yourself, and that includes your website. So check those out. Free again, and we have a lot of great examples in many of those sessions showing you how copywriters have awesome freelance websites.
Exactly. Okay. What type of wording is used in B2B? The writing I'm talking about is either a high educational type of writing or just an everyday type of writing where you're talking with your neighbor or friends.
The trend
Great
in
question.
B2B is conversational writing. It's not stiff and formal corporate speak. Doesn't work, and neither is it really hyped up. It's just down to earth, conversational, business conversational style. In fact, that's one of the units I teach in the program is how to achieve that business to business writing style that works so well.
And married to that is jargon, though, that is relevant to the industry. And, you know, we usually say, never use jargon. That's not true. If you're talking to a veterinarian, for example, I happen to know that their customers are never called customers or referred to as customers in their world. They call them clients. So if you're someone who brings your dog in, my dog is at my feet right now, I'm a client of the vet practice, but I know that because I'm in the industry. So nuances you'll learn from your customers, your clients, I mean, what that language is in that industry, because there is certain kind of terminology that does resonate with software producers or, you know, forklift manufacturers. There's definitely a certain language that you would weave into your conversational copy.
And you get that from your client, by the way. The first step when you're working on a copywriting project for a client is you interview the client. You have that conversation with your client. You say, you know, how do your customers describe this? What terminology does your customers use? And you want to get a sense of their vocabulary so you can use it in your copy.
So I have just a couple more questions. Okay. They should be pretty quick. How would you position your services to meet the demand of the companies dealing with safety and security during this crisis?
I wouldn't position your services any differently than you would for any other company. You're someone who can write very clear, accurate, engaging copy and content that helps these companies communicate information about their products and services to their target audience. That doesn't change, you know, whether you're in safety and security during these times or any other industry, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, and we had just a follow-up comment for someone who's worried about protecting your client's work. They said you could take the work that you have and try to create a portfolio piece by taking the structure that you used for one company and creating a new piece on that if you wanted to showcase what you had done. It's not exactly the same as your live sample, but that suggestion came from a listener.
Yeah, so just to clarify that, I think what the person meant is that if you have a piece that has been published by a client, or you just use a practice piece, you can dress it up and kind of design it to make it look good, so it becomes a nice looking portfolio piece in your portfolio.
But maybe for a fictitious company, not the client.
Fictitious company, absolutely.
Yeah. Question for Pam: how do you produce a video, and how? This is, I'm not sure you're going to be able to answer this question in full. How do you produce a video, equipment, knowledge, and making one, and how to best present it and where in the funnel? So I think mostly the question you can answer here is, how do you, where in the funnel do you put a video that you would use in B2B?
Well, it's part of that rollout lead gen strategy. For example, if there's a demo that would be super powerful if shown as a video, that would be part of your path, and you can help write the video script for that. I don't ever get involved in producing the videos for clients. They usually have, you know, people who are technical videographers who do that, editing and all that stuff. But the scripting, I've done explainer videos. Do you know what those mean? Where you go, what if you wanted to streamline your software, your payroll system, and that you walk through, I've done the voiceover too, but you walk through the benefit of that company, how they could help the client explain stuff to their customers and prospects. So you write the script, and then they work with a videographer or video company to produce the visuals and put it all together. That's I hope the right answer to the question.
Right.
About half the videos that video scripts that I've written over the past few years for B2B companies were explainer videos, just like Pam described. And they're often used after the lead. When someone becomes the lead and then they're learning more about the product, then explainer videos come in.
And they typically solve a common issue. Like, you know, are you trying to juggle 75 projects at once and it's a nightmare? We can help you smooth that out. Here's how. And so they show you, it's like problem solution.
Okay. And then in terms of meetings with your clients, how do you proceed to record interviews and discussions so that all the time you're devoting to listening rather than note-taking? And they particularly wanted Steve's view on this.
Okay.
Zoom.
Zoom. I was going to say that too.
Zoom. And then before Zoom became popular, everybody's using Zoom now. Zoom was popular in B2B like for the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Every business is using Zoom. So much so that it's not uncommon for a B2B client to contact you and say, I have a new project. I want to talk to you about it. Can we hop on a Zoom call? So Zoom.
Right.
And it's
Zoom
recorded.
You get a free account from Zoom.
Right.
And when you, a question about video scripts, when you write a video script, do you create it in the storyboard?
You know what I do is 2 columns. So I will put the narrative part or what the voiceover part's going to be in the left column, and then I'll suggest the videos in the right, whatever the visuals should be in the right column. And if I think that there should be a caption or something graphically pointed out, I'll make a note of that. But I'm not a designer. I'm not a videographer. I can't even say the word. And but I do try to spell out what I'm thinking, what my intent is. Like here you would show the array of projects or products that you offer. When I say this line, look at our many products for you. Totally making that up, but that side-by-side thing seems to work pretty well.
Okay.
The way Pam described it, that's the standard format for videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, last 2 questions. I'm not taking any more questions. How do you differentiate between how do you negotiate, I think is what they're asking, upfront pricing versus royalties when you're negotiating?
Royalties don't really exist that much in B2B. No. It's all set. It's project pricing. You quote a price for a project, and that's what you get.
And okay, last question. Do you have a recommendation for a B2B niche between pets, elementary education, or gardening?
Okay, so on Inside AWAI, we have a couple of sessions on researching a niche, because it's really a personal decision. There's so much out there that you'll have to do some digging. I can't answer that for you just right here because there's so much out there. So if you are interested in looking at the pet industry, I walk you through how to research that. If you want to look at the gardening industry, you would do the same research just typing into Google gardening industry or gardening trends or landscaping associations. You know, there's a lot of fun, I would call it a blast, legwork that you do to then spark something that really resonates with you.
Yep, and so that you can find that on awai.com/inside-AWAI. And it's how to choose a niche for copywriting clients. Mm-hmm. So I think that's it. Yvonne says that niche program is great. Thanks, Yvonne. And I'm getting lots of thank yous now. So.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. I mean, on Facebook as well. I hope this has been reaching more people and helping more people really understand what B2B is all about and the massive, unbelievably great opportunity as a B2B copywriter that you could have before you here. So I want to thank Steve Slaunwhite for being here. Excellent.
Thanks, everyone. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to have you with us. So I think that's about it. And thank you for your time with us, you guys. I hope you check out Steve's program coming up at the later this month. And we will see you again next month with another topic for Inside AWAI. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.